Hello and welcome again to Gaming Gatehouse and into this playthrough of Mass Effect 2. As I said last time, we are approaching the end and we are going to wrap up some Codex entries. The final will be the final. Let's get with the primary. Ready, no.
Reaper indoctrination is an insidious means of corrupting organic minds, reprogramming the brain through physical and psychological conditioning, using electromagnetic fields, infrasonic and ultrasonic noise, and other subliminal methods. The Reaper's resulting control over the limbic system leaves the victim highly susceptible to its suggestions. Organics undergoing indoctrination may complain of headaches and buzzing or ringing in their ears. As time passes, they have feelings of being watched and hallucinations of ghostly presences. Ultimately, the Reaper gains the ability to use the victim's body to amplify its signals, manifesting as alien voices in the mind. Indoctrination can create perfect deep cover agents. The Reaper's suggestions can manipulate victims into betraying friends, trusting enemies, or viewing the Reaper itself with superstitious awe. Should a Reaper subvert a well-placed political or military leader, the resulting chaos can bring down nations. Long-term physical effects of the manipulation are unsustainable. Higher mental functioning decays, ultimately leaving the victim a gibbering animal. Rapid indoctrination is possible, but causes this decay in days or weeks. Slow, patient indoctrination allows the thrall to last for months or years.
Scary. And apparently, from what? Oh no, there it is.
Humans detected Iaea as an Earth-type warp. Choked by the hypergrowth of non-native plant species, Pragia serves as a galactic reminder about the imperative for careful regulation during colonization. 2 centuries ago, Batarian agribusiness chose uninhabited Pragia as their empire's breadbasket. Colonization authorities introduced non-native, industrially mutated plants that flourished in the world's fertile volcanic soil. Synergizing with Pragia's natural geothermal conditions and chemotropic microbes, the imported species soon became a nightmare. Mutant strains of poisonous and even carnivorous plants arose, overgrowing colonies in days instead of years, and causing the Batarians to abandon their holdings. Because the planet's small animal population is insufficient to check its plant growth, Alliance ecologists predict soil exhaustion in 400 years. Due to its relative isolation and lack of population, Pragia has become a regional haven for drug runners, weapons smugglers, pirates, mercenaries, terrorists, and intelligence agents seeking secrecy. As vast in natural beauty as it is in threat, the purple and gold nebula called the Perseus Veil forms the natural border between Geth space and the Terminus systems. The Veil's total opacity prevents Council intelligence from surveying Geth activity. Theoretically, the Geth could be preparing a devastating attack against which the Council could be defenseless, or the Geth could have died out, so that the defense budget against them could be gaining the Alliance nothing but economic ruination. Despite fears of Geth, prospectors do occasionally mount salvage ventures inside the Veil. One ended in tragedy. Using techno-mental domination, the Geth drew the team into the Veil before aiming them back as husks at the organic society that produced them. A leak-classified Spectre report claims that the Dreadnought Sovereign, commanded by ex-Spectre Sarin Arterius and crewed by Geth, hid near the Veil before initiating the 2183 Citadel attack.
Now about Tuchanka.
The Krogan homeworld boasts extreme temperatures, virulent diseases, and vicious predatory fauna. Around 1900 BCE, the Krogan discovered atomic power, and promptly instigated many intraplanetary wars, sending Tuchanka into a nuclear winter. With most of their industrial base destroyed, the Krogan entered a new dark age, and warring tribal bands dominated. Populations remained low for the next 2,000 years. First contact with the Solarians made resurgence possible. Krogan brought to less hostile planets bred exponentially and returned to reconquer their home. They built vast underground shelters to shield themselves from surface radiation, which proved prescient during the Krogan rebellions, when many of them isolated themselves in a vain attempt to avoid the genophage. Convinced they could outbreed the genophage, they transmitted it into more than 90% of the sealed bunkers. Today, Tuchanka's population is sharply limited, and while individual Krogan are long-lived, the genophage ensures few replacements.
That's the Pragya, first the Pragya, now Tuchanka. We have two examples of natural places being destroyed by technological misuse.
Asari-made cyclonic barrier technology, CBT, attempts to solve the higher-end limitations of traditional kinetic barriers. Traditional barriers cannot block high-level kinetic energy such as disruptor torpedoes because torpedo mass effect fields add mass. The CBT violently slaps aside rather than halting incoming linear force. By rotationally firing their mass effect field projectors, ships create rapidly oscillating kinetic barriers instead of static ones. Shooting through the CBT is like trying to shoot at a target inside a spinning ball. Significant drawbacks to current CBT configuration prevent its use on anything other than frigates and fighters. Its many high-frequency sensors and emitters require frequent maintenance and replacement. A partially damaged CBT can endanger its operator, who is surrounded by rotating mass effect fields skewing in unpredictable directions. However, if an emitter is damaged, the CBT becomes a traditional shield array, making it effective during opening volleys.
Okay.
A with elaborate.
Okay. That's it. That's all for the primary codex entries, meaning the secondaries will have to be read by me. Excuse me. Drell culture. 8 centuries ago, the already arid Drell homeworld, Rakana, began its swift descent into lifelessness due to disastrous industrial expansion. Because their population was bursting at 11 billion and they did not possess interstellar flight capacity, the Drell would have been doomed without the intervention of the Hanar. Following first contact, the Hanar spent 10 years transporting 375,000 willing Drell to their own homeworld Kaje. The remaining billions perished in a dying world, warring against each other for diminishing sources of water and food. Today, only a few thousand survive on Rakana in clusters never exceeding a few hundred. Now a cemetery world, Rakana's population can double during pilgrimage season. Drell have been part of the galactic community for almost 2 centuries. Most reside on Kaje, content to coexist with the Hanar. Those who leave Kaje tend to be adventurers. Gifted by the Hanar with acute perception of interspecies body language, solitary Drell travelers often seek out new species elsewhere, adopting their species' culture and rarely returning to Kaje. Such Drell number in the thousands and are scattered across the galaxy, tending towards quite integrated lives. On Kaje, the Hanar afforded the Drell every opportunity to thrive. While outsiders and even some Hanar regard the Drell as junior partners, if not actual servants, Grell have integrated themselves into every level of Honor society as respected, productive citizens. A good example of integration. A third example of global catastrophe due to, in this case, overpopulation. Yes, heretics. Conversations with the guest programs, dubbed Legion, have brought to light the profound schism in guest society. When Saren Arterius approached the guests in the Dreadnought Sovereign, some of them chose to follow him, most did not. Saren's followers were allowed to leave guest society, but were dubbed heretics by those that remained. This revelation implies several things. First, the majority of guests chose not to attack Organity society. Second, the guest forces the Council and Alliance fleets have battled the last 2 years represent only a small portion of their actual military and economic power, perhaps as little as 5% of mainstream guest society. Okay. I hope the guests will not rebel or something. Like for real. Third, this schism suggests that individual guests possess more free will and perhaps even personality than previously suspected. Without such individuality, no guest could have deviated from the group decision to join or reject Saren's mission. There could not have been a division. Finally, there is a matter of Legion's word choice. The guests used the English word heretics to describe Saren's followers. Of the many words Legion could have chosen, nonconformists, dissenters, rebels, etc., only the word heretic suggests a broadly accepted guest philosophy or religion, and that the actions of Saren's allies violated the orthodoxy. Okay, I see what they mean. Like, attacking organics was like a great crime, at least for the whole of the guest society. Next, ships and vehicles. Quarian life ships. There are few wide open spaces in Quarian spacecrafts. Life ships are the exception. Each ship is a massive hydroponics facility, growing thousands of tons of genetically modified staple crops under artificial light and in highly enriched soil. The surface of a life ship is studded with docking bays so as many shuttles as possible can distribute the foods throughout the flotilla on a daily basis. When received, the crops are sterilized with radiation, ground up into nutritious pastes, and pumped into Quarian suits through feeding tubes. In return, waste products that could be used as fertilizer or compost are returned to the life ships through an efficient, if odorous, recycling program. Life ships do not hold animals. The Quarians consume a vegan diet, driven not by ethics but by practicality. Captive animals require living space, and consume large amounts of water and plant matter. The Quarians cannot afford such an efficient resource to calorie ratio, to say nothing of a live animal's disease or allergen potential. As a result, when the flotilla arrives in the star system where life is based on the same dextro amino acids that the Quarians consume, pastes based on animal protein fetch highly inflated prices, and the vendors are typically mobbed by Quarians wanting a new taste sensation. The sickness that often follows these binges is treated much the same way as hangovers are in human culture. Painful, but part of the overall experience of excess. Yeah, I mean, living on paste every day. And that's, I think, for the ships and vehicles. Technology. There is one technology that I knew that I had to read, but did not read before. And it is the computer haptic adaptive interface. At least I don't remember. Advances in computing have done away with traditional input devices like keyboards. Instead, modern input peripherals are used holographically, displayed in front of the user at a height and angle for ergonomic use. Machines that use this interface detect their user through a microframe chip in the user's glove that keys in to the computer. Once a user is accepted, motion accelerometers in the user's gloves match his hand's location with that of a proportionate but smaller mirror set of controls inside the computer itself. As the user presses against the holographic field, force feedback in the glove kicks in, giving a slight resistance. A person can then feel his way through using a touchscreen that isn't actually there. A simple toggle switch on the back of the hands allows the gloves to be turned off when not in use. Haptic interfaces have become so common that some individuals undergo cybernetic enhancement surgery to have the accelerometers implant in their fingertips. Going bareskin is a sign of a committed computer user who no longer has to fuss with putting on gloves or cleaning them with alcohol wipes to get rid of the clammy hand smell. Yeah. And I think that's all. These are all the Codex entries. I mean, the game is still not over. We might have some new entries, but I would just at least ignore them. You cannot hold the final mission forever. So that's it. Next, we will talk with the crew members before engaging in the suicide mission. So I want to thank you for joining me here at Gaming Gatehouse into this playthrough of Mass Effect 2, and I'll see you again next time.